Oh, hey, hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. So before we begin, let's go ahead and clear our energies and take 3 deep cleansing breaths before
All
we
right.
get started. You got a head start, right?
No, I didn't mean to do
No,
that.
you're fine. All right, let's begin. Okay.
Much better.
Yeah, so welcome, Sunny, to the channel.
Thank you, Scorpio Moon.
You're welcome. So please, let's get started and get right into it. Today is kind of a very special day, kind of. And so go ahead and, I guess tell us a little bit about what is so special about today.
All right. Well, I apologize to your viewers for our last talk when I was trying to share my screen and the fan on my laptop kept going off and I couldn't really talk over it. So I've opted not to do that this time. And today on the East Coast, it's around midnight, and over there on the West Coast, it's about 3 in the morning for you.
Okay.
You'd have to be in the Antarctica to view it. So the significant thing about solar eclipses as compared to lunar eclipses is this: the length of time that the eclipse takes, and this one will be for 7 minutes and 31 seconds in a person's life equates to a little over 7 years. So if you have significant places in or around 12, 14 degrees of Sagittarius, um, and that's going to probably bring in more change than someone that doesn't have any placements around that part. So if you do, then the effect that you're feeling this week and next week will linger or bring those opportunities for 7 years, 7 1/3 years thereabouts. When we talk about lunar eclipses and the length that they are, it translates to months. So that's the significance between solar eclipses and lunar is full solar eclipses, if they are in a particular part of your chart that is conjunct or holding hands with the eclipse, it'll be a big chapter for you. So, in general, with eclipses, they are triggers. There's a lot of pressure in the atmosphere. You and I were talking before we came live about what a zany week it has been,
Mhm.
and so before I get really into it, I wanted to share a little story because I saw one of your viewers comment on the picture. And so
Okay.
this is my very first ephemeris. You see how it's very old. This covers
Mhm.
1,000 years of placements. So I got this probably back in the mid 70s. And that picture has always been my bookmark.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I got this picture. It's part of a card at a New Age bookstore. I live in the Southern Bible Belt back in the mid late 70s. Astrologers, psychics, tarot, New Age was very much frowned upon. And the New Age shop where I used to do readings and shop for crystals and stones was owned by a really nice husband and wife. And one morning they came to open their shop, and a turkey heart was nailed above the door. And
No.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was very close to a very fundamentalist church.
Okay.
So, every area of the world has had different stories like that. But this was a card. Um, I bought it for the picture. I do not know who the artist is. If anyone does, I would love to give them credit. It's probably one of my favorite pieces of art. I've thought about having it refurbished because it's all dog-eared and there's some imperfections in it.
Mhm.
But to me, this picture personifies this Sagittarius solar eclipse. Sagittarius is freedom, higher love, spirituality, higher education, travel, foreign cultures, foreign people, and all things of a higher plane. So if you look really, really close, there's a passion there that transcends physical lust or superficial love. And that's
Yeah.
what, yeah. And that's what this solar eclipse is all about, is for us to have a come to Jesus moment, so to speak, might be one of the cliche sayings to say. In how do you feel about true love? And I'm not talking about lust or crushes or games people play, you know, the the cat and mouse games of runner chaser and all these kinds of dynamics between people.
Mhm.
Sagittarius will beg of you to look deeper into your soul for what does love really mean to you.
Mhm.
That picture to me transcends any kind of physical lust or physicality. It's
Mhm.
something on another plane.
Mhm.
It's something fantastical, maybe
Mhm.
hard to believe,
Mhm.
because this has been a theory of mine for a long, long time. True love is about freedom
Mhm.
because it's premised upon trust. And when you trust your friend or your lover or whoever, whatever you want to apply this relationship to, it could be parents and children, it could be friends, it could be romantic. It could be your work. Just take it how you would like, how it resonates to you for your particular time now, and um, it weeds out, so to speak. It weeds out unnecessary motion. When you don't need to prove anything, you just have a knowingness, and it's a spiritual connection. Um, I think in the Asian cultures, they equate it to the red ribbon that connects souls, that's never
Mhm.
broken, regardless of what 3D realities people are in.
Mhm.
So we're talking about other dimensions of time and connections between souls. And Jupiter is the truth seeker. He's the wounded healer. I'm sorry, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So from that, you get the truth seeker. Um, Eclipses will bring light to things. So I think that you'll see maybe some mysteries be unveiled, because also this week we've had the planet Neptune go direct. It's been retrograde almost all year. And let me just remind everybody who Neptune is, because for me, in this study of this eclipse, I keep getting heavy Neptune vibes. And
Mhm.
I think it's because of its stationing to go direct. It's in its home where it likes to be. So it's more powerful. Neptune was the god at the bottom of the ocean who guarded the gates of all the secret mysteries of the universe. And you have to go on faith and into that dark, murky water in order to discover those deeper mysteries. It's not something you're going to find up on shore when you're playing in the shallow water. That can be equated with dark night of the soul. The negative part of a Neptune expression is it indulges in things like alcohol and sweets. So it can be done a couple of different ways.
Mhm.
Together with Sagittarius bolsters the spiritual side of it, because my mom was a double Sagittarius with a Scorpio rising. And the best
Mhm.
way I can also kind of describe this energy is how other people would describe her after she passed away, is that she always shot from the hip. You knew exactly where she stood, and she was a warrior of the truth and fairness. If she saw an injustice being done to a child or another person or to someone in her family, her fire would come out. It is
Mhm.
Sagittarius is a fire sign. If you are another fire sign like Leo or Aries, these are very positive trine aspects which bring natural gifts and unexpected ease for situations depending on where it's falling in your chart.
Mhm.
But in general, fire signs will benefit also from this energy, um, with making opportunities come forward. Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system, and that equates in the human experience as it helps us to expand. That could be your physical body. You could gain weight. Um, Neptune in Pisces is all about the feet. You could have swollen feet under these kinds of energies, or just foot problems in general. Sagittarius rules the hip girdle. You might, have a crick in your hip, or um, those kinds of physical symptoms for what's happening to you emotionally. So, the wounded healer is also described in astrology charts as the planet Chiron. So, just depending on which mythology you want to go by, either Greek or Roman or Asian, there's different characters that go by the same energies, but a different name. And the wounded healer, I meant to look this up to get my memory more sharp on it, but generally the story goes that Jupiter, the centaur, was willing to sacrifice uh, his immortal life to protect or help others, and it was all in the search for truth. Different stories are there. A lot of them go something like a spear in his thigh, like he lived with that pain forever, for eternity. And that was a sacrifice that he made for the goodness of mankind, or to advance society somehow, was through my pain, I can help others with theirs. So I think all of us can associate with that. If you're any kind of interest in spirituality, esoterics, or the new age movement at all, there is an empathy. There is a learning compassion and patience for other people. Um, Pisces is the psychic sponge. It's all about feeling what other people feel. That's why a lot of Pisces people do turn to too much drink or sugar, because they feel too much.
Let me say something about that.
Yes.
Okay, I failed to talk about this before we went live, but
Okay.
it was about my fish. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's what it reminded me, and my fish was having a floaty,
Yeah.
syndrome. He's
Yeah.
floating to the top, and his mouth is
And then he was going
like
to the bottom. Oh,
no, no, he's, like, gasping for air like this, and so, I did my research, and, basically, I had to put more, air into the water
oh,
so
right.
that it could breathe, like, be more oxygenated and maybe reposition the filter. So yeah, I felt really bad, and I hope that after our little session that my fish is a survivor. But yeah,
Yeah. He didn't get brain damage from lack of oxygen, right?
yeah, like what did you do, mom? Like what?
I'm choosing my words very carefully and I'm feeling like I'm really talking slow. These energies are really deep and very
Hmm.
complex.
Hmm.
And again, yeah, I know we're talking about a Sagittarius solar eclipse where the moon and the sun are holding hands in Sagittarius, and Mercury is also there.
Hmm.
Mercury can be the trickster. So it's about circulating information and being able to use your intuition to know what is true or not true. And that's very difficult in this day and age. Um, so also what's going on here is that same square between Uranus and Saturn. And that's what I equated in my article as to poking the bear.
Hmm.
So people can be very tolerant in general, whether they are a spiritual person and live in an ashram and every day, or if they are a lounge lizard and like to drink all night. It's just everybody expresses energy differently. But the point is that these energies are prime for being fooled or being fantasy.
Hmm.
Um, and what's so ironic, there's a real irony to all of this mixture because I think what we're experiencing as a global society is truths coming forth that do seem somewhat fantastical and kind of blow out of the water things that we thought we knew that are getting turned upside down. And eclipses will trigger energy to surprise, I equate it to the Tower card.
Hmm.
If you are on your path and say you keep repeating the same karmic cycle over and over, the universe will step in, and I call the Tower card the 2x4. And I'm trying to keep my language cleaned up, so we'll just say it kicks you in gear.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's just a way to try and keep you growing forward on every level of consciousness.
Hmm.
Both Sagittarius and Pisces are extremely about multi-dimensional consciousness.
Hmm.
The square to Uranus brings the whole fantastical subject matter of outer space and other civilizations, other galaxies. How did I hear it put recently? It's not a universe, it's a megaverse.
Hmm.
There's more than one. Uni is one, but it's
Hmm.
really, there are many universes.
Hmm.
And, it's so frustrating to get down to the truth because of Photoshop and the way media can be manipulated. I did see a interesting photo, and it was up in the Antarctica area, I believe. And it was like all these planets that could be seen from our surface. And so, um, one of the things that I get the feeling, and that's also why I'm going really slow because y'all are going to write me off to want to carry me off to some kind of loony bin.
I know where you live. No, I'm playing.
Yeah. I really am quite sane and, live a really serious life with work and everything. But too much is happening to tell me that things are not as they appear. And I've heard what I'm going to talk about more than twice, 3 times in the last couple of years. And I always feel like when the universe gives you a message 3 times, just like when you read a chart, the idea is that if you confirm something 3 times, you're pretty much on target or over the
Mhm.
target.
Mhm.
So what that is, Ray Bradbury was the writer of the Star Trek series.
Mhm.
And when if you're old enough to have watched that back in the 60s, I mean, it was totally fantasy, totally.
Mhm.
Over the years, they've put out these big motion picture productions. And I'm not sure which one. I do remember the actor who played Captain Kirk in one of the last ones that has come out. His name was Christopher Pike, and I just thought he did a really good job at the role. And who they cast as Spock, I mean, that they really did a good job, I thought.
Mhm.
And Scotty, who was the engineer, had been marooned out on some icy berg in the space, I guess, for being naughty or something. But Captain Kirk gets exiled off of the ship and lands on this iceberg where Scotty has been in this remote space station waiting for a sandwich. And through one thing or another, if y'all have seen this movie, I don't want to bore you with the details, but the part I'm trying to get to is so Scotty finally gets to the Enterprise on board, and there's all this chaos. And he's just, he's got a towel and he's drying off his hair and he'd been in some water and he's like, this is exciting. I really like this ship. And when I'm looking at the energies that we're around right now, that's how I feel. This is
Mhm.
exciting. I would like to propose an idea to the viewers that from tonight, for a couple of weeks till December 18th, is a full moon at 27 degrees Gemini 29. 27, 29, 9, 11 in the sign of the twins. I think that's very significant. And my proposal is that you do the best you can to detox from television.
Mhm.
I've not had a television or cable for about 5 years. And I use my phone. I get my weather and news leads and everything. But my point is, much of society is hypnotized by the television,
Mhm.
and it influences an awful lot that may or may not be true. And I can tell that because I've been withdrawn from it for a long time, I seem to be different than, say, my neighbors that sit in front of it every night, all night. And I would just propose just to your viewers to try it. Try
Mhm.
to try to detox from media. I mean, we all have work and time and weather and things we have to do. But the reason I'm going here is because we're not being told the truth, and we can't rely on outside sources to tell us the truth. The only way we can really know our truth is when we tune into ourself without outside distractions.
Mhm.
And that 9/11 in Gemini, to me, is like a signal of don't feed into the narrative. And there's a lot of fear mongering because they will show clips of films of things to try to say that's happening right now. And that film may be 10 years old.
Mhm.
You really don't start questioning that until you withdraw from it. And that's why I'm saying just give it a try. Give it a try. Um, I'm an older generation. I did not get raised on cell phones or computers. So it's easier, I think, for older people to detach. And it concerns the older generation how connected people are electronically.
Mhm.
And so Uranus is the electronics and the electricity. Our bodies have an electromagnetic field all around it,
Mhm.
so it can be manipulated. And we really don't understand that until we see what it's like without it. And
Mhm.
before we came on, I was telling you I've had a lot of turtle signs recently. And turtle, we were reading in the medicine cards, and I'll talk about that if you want. I'll be more specific about it if you want me to. But it represents Mother Earth and our need to rely on being grounded and let Mother Earth protect us as if we were in her womb. I also get the feeling of there's a book called Still Life with Woodpecker. It's a story, and the underlying tale of it is it's never too late to have a happy second childhood. The twin flame journey connects people through childhood trauma. We play out these dysfunctional, toxic relationships and connections, battling the trauma from past hurts. And so reconnecting with that childlike innocence is very healing.
Mhm.
If you're not hooked into an electronic, that might make you take a walk out in the fresh air or go
Mhm.
to a body of water or a bird sanctuary. Um, just something physical that your body is moving through nature, moving through different energies without the electrical interference.
Mhm.
I hope I'm making sense. There's
Yeah,
an
well, it's kind of strange because in the past couple of days, I've come across like a video on YouTube with the Schumann resonance,
yes,
which is, a vibration, right? From
yes,
the earth. And I've been playing that, and it actually did detox me from any kind of negative
right,
vibration that I was sensing,
right,
because I don't know, for some reason this week I was kind of like in a negative, icky mood, and it wasn't really necessarily my energy, but I was definitely absorbing other stuff out there, and I
right,
knew that I had to cut it off. Now, I don't have cable, I don't watch TV, but
right.
the only interaction I have is through, certain media outlets that I do
Sure.
connect to, and some people,
Yes.
but yeah.
A lot of spiritual people don't watch TV, and I'm just making that as um, a general idea. It's what I was kind of feeling as I was trying to glean positive ways of using this energy is where I'm going. And the reason I bring up Star Trek is because, as crazy as it sounds, I really do believe this Sagittarius truth seeker, the Saturn square the Uranus, and Mercury the trickster will reveal things that seem fantastical that are actually the truth. And things that we thought were the truth are actually not.
Fake.
So
Mhm.
I think that it's very important for society and individuals to start tuning their vibration to something outside of a manipulative energy. That manipulation could be a boss or a friend or a family.
Mhm.
But it's very important, I think, to use the energy to detach from things that your intuition tells you are not for your highest good. A lot of us just get on a treadmill of our lives and our routines. And we may know on some level in our mind that it is not healthy or that person is not good for us or whatever, but we just still keep pacifying a narrative or making other people happy or not rocking the boat. And I will tell you, solar eclipses will rock the boat. So, what I would like to impart for consideration is to do the things and activities over the next 2 weeks that you've been putting off. Say you've been thinking you wanted to go on a hike or you wanted to take a drive to some vineyard or somewhere out away from the city, and you break up your routine. I feel very strongly that if we don't pay attention, the universal 2x4 will come along. There's a story. I'm probably going to wreck this story too, but we get signs in our life. We might ask God or ask whoever you ask, the universe or spirit, Father Sky, for direction or for an answer. And we get signs, but it might not be a sign we want. It might offend our ego. It might provoke one of those childhood traumas that's too painful to address. So we just keep kind of push it away, take a drink. I eat too much chocolate, I can tell you that. And that can't go on and on and on and on. So it can manifest in a physical health issue, or it could manifest in a financial surprise. Everybody's going to do it differently. Another movie that came to my mind that describes how I think we could all benefit from the next couple of weeks under this energy. It was Moonstruck. It was like a romantic comedy with Cher and Nicolas Cage. And there was a part in there where she smacks him and is like, snap out of it. And I feel like the universe is trying to tell us to snap out of it. Things are not right. There are really horrible injustices that have been going on a long time. And it's time for the truth to come forward. And there will always be a segment of mankind that will never believe the horrors that have been perpetrated on society. Then there's people like us and who are tuning in that want a deep, meaningful spiritual life that is soul fulfilling. And we're seeking, and that's what the centaur does. He seeks the truth through freedom. So let's get back to some more fun type stuff with romance.
Okay.
because that's kind of where I was starting with true love and freedom. It's real hard to get honest with yourself. And it's another challenge, I guess, I'm proposing to the viewers. The object of your affection, the person that you've obsessed over or pinpointed as who you want to be with. And seems like 99% of the time they're with someone else, whether they're married or cohabitating, they're not available. It's not healthy to perpetuate a scenario in our minds and hearts for someone who's not available. That's a hard truth. It's a truth that if you don't on your own handle, the universe will just give you a worse surprise. And none of us deserve that. So being really honest with yourself about what is it that has you so hooked or drawn or dialed in to one scenario. because that's
Mhm.
really not natural, right? And I believe that what we all are guilty of is we fall in love with the ideal of love.
Mhm.
We're human. Humans run in packs. We're here to be hooked up with our partner. Many
Mhm.
of us aren't. And I blame that on how society's kind of evolved to hook us into the internet and have a very solitary kind of existence. You know, you
Mhm.
can't talk to somebody when you're in front of a computer or have your game in your hand, or, you know, those are very one-on-one connections, and that has made human connections suffer. And what I'm proposing under this solar eclipse for the next couple of weeks is try to get back to the simpler expressions of human truth and your desires with another human. And I mean, a lot of us don't have the option for that to be romantic, but say it's a sibling or a good friend, or, you know, even it could even be a stranger. You know, I've traveled a lot, and whenever I've traveled, I've always traveled alone. And when you travel alone or go to dinner alone or whatever, you inevitably meet somebody to talk to. So it could be a stranger that ends up triggering some answer that
Mhm.
you're seeking. And so this energy is about seeking your answers. Snap out of it. Things are not what they appear. Mercury is out there circulating a lot of trickster energy. They call, what do they call it? Disinformation, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
information is purposely put out there to disinform. So these energies are really powerfully, wonderfully exciting if we'll step away from the electronics, step away from the manipulation that messes with our own electrical magnetic field in our body.
Mhm.
I'm a huge animal lover. So, you know, going to a petting zoo or, you know, help somebody with their animals, or, you know, just getting around the simpler manifestations of life and love, because with animals there's unconditional love. um, we've all gotten way too complicated and detached from heartfelt connection. You cannot get connected electronically.
Mhm. Mhm.
I know, and I mean, again, I'm telling on myself. This is generational a lot, because most of the people I read for that are younger, it's all about internet dating. It's all about electronically hooking up or swiping left or whatever the hell that means. I,
Mhm.
I'm old. I don't get that. And
Mhm.
my growing up and dating years were usually, you know, you did a hobby, you were, you know, you were somewhere doing something you love or with friends and met somebody.
Mhm.
You know, that
Mhm.
seems to be so, you know, back in the really old days, without like running water and electricity, people gathered, and that's how they met and mingled. And I just get really strong. I mean, when you see, I just love this. And when you see, I mean, look how simple the I mean,
I think that's beautiful,
it's
and
just simple. It's a
mhm.
simple, beautiful, raw connection. And it might be fantastical and impossible, but it provokes a feeling. And that's what this energy is all about, is provoking that instinct and natural animal feeling you have inside, that's not manipulated by outside electricity,
Mhm.
5G, Starlink. There's all of these man-made instruments that are messing with us. And the bottom line is we're human beings of flesh, blood, and bone.
Mhm.
And we're meant to be with other human beings, flesh, blood, and bone. The
Mhm.
whole last 18 months has been about isolating. I read this fascinating article, and I'll just briefly refer to it, and you can go out there and find it. It was a Belgium clinical psychologist making a report on society of the last 18 months and something called mass formation.
Yeah, I've heard something like
Yes,
that.
humans need to feel connected.
Mhm.
And this manipulation of enslaving us, making us controlled, losing our freedoms. If you isolate a person, what has happened is people have bonded over this thing that's a manipulation,
Mhm.
and it's not positive.
Mhm.
It's divisive, right?
Mhm.
It's not how humans naturally bond with each other.
Mhm.
I know where I live, there are Indian powwows that you can go to connect with old time cultures.
Mhm.
So this is where I think we need to be going is we need to turn off the TV, turn off the news, don't believe anything you see. There was a high profile, I'm going to throw this out there because it blows my mind. There was a high profile court case recently.
Mhm.
And when you look at it, it was all a play. It was done in front of a green screen because you would see people's foot or hand or head go out of the picture, like they're in
Mhm.
front of a green screen, and it's all a show. And so we are in really wild west times in our society. And
Mhm.
there, I guess the thing that I'm trying to tiptoe around is, um, and I said this in one of our other talks, I never wanted to believe there was true evil in this world, but there is. And we need to
Mhm.
wake up and take it really seriously. And when I say a come to Jesus moment, it means get real with yourself. I wrote this. This came off of a guy's website. He's talking about um, RV reevaluation of money from different countries, and
Mhm.
uh, that's a whole nother part of
Topic.
this. Yeah, and it's interesting. It's exciting, and the reason I want to try to pump up people to get excited is, you know, it would be a good thing to see the corruption that has manipulated us all our lives into work pay. And I'm currently researching something about birth certificates.
Mhm.
That they're actually, bonds of enslaving you to be a worker
Mhm.
and to pay and pay. And
I think everyone's birth certificate is worth like $1,000,000. That it's like
I was
common law or something like that.
I was
Um,
watching this thing that talks about look at the bottom and the signatures on it. Now, as an
mhm.
astrologer, I always want someone to look at their birth certificate to get the most exact time they can. We can do charts with guesstimations, but if you want real particular, like predictions of the future, that time, the calculation of the time and the placement in the chart of the planets is what the accuracy of prediction is about. So when we
Mhm.
don't have a time, we might just use noon because there's like a huge percentage of babies born around midday. And so it's not impossible, but my whole career as an astrologer, have looked at birth certificates. And so I think that's kind of what got me hooked on researching this a little more, because when you look closer at the signatures on those birth certificates, like, my parents that were born in the 20s, theirs looks totally different to my brothers who were born in the 50s. I was born in the 60s. People that were born in the 90s. These birth certificates have taken different forms over the years, and what part of the world you were born in also makes them look differently. So, which I embrace. I'm so glad they haven't made that like a blanket stamped form, right? What I mean, it's like we all need to be embracing our differences and our creativity, because if we do for a moment assume that there are other species of human beings interacting on this plane with us, what makes us stand out is our creativity. That is what they want to mine from us. That is what they're trying to deaden within us by all the media. And I was reading this thing about the pulses between the TV and your brain get into this rhythm, and you're pretty much brainwashed. And we need to snap out of it and jump on that ship and get excited that we are on the brink of a new part of our existence, and embrace being different, embrace having common sense and thinking for yourself for what's good for you. What's good for you and what's good for me could be miles apart, and no one needs to stand in judgment about that. And it's frightening to see how they are trying to manipulate people into this group and that group. And I'm just going to say it very blatantly right here, that there's nothing different about being told to go to this clinic than it is back in the 40s when they thought they were going into a shower. These are serious times, and we have got to wake up and realize we all individually have a fire within us that's terribly creative and has a lot to offer. The wounded healer, the centaur, the truth seeker. I just get this. I'm a Leo, I'm a fire, so this has got me kind of fired up, like, hear me roar. I just want to be out there telling people, wake up, snap out of it. Don't believe me. Don't believe you. Just go out there and figure out your discernment and what feels right to you. And that is where we've touched on before, the Piscean or New Age or spiritual awakening of going back to times of the Atlanteans and Lemurians, where they did use their mind to communicate, to move their bodies. And I'm excited that we are back getting more into creativity, because we don't need to be, half artificial intelligence and half human and walking around punching
like
the
a
clock.
zombie.
Yeah. And it scares me. I mean, I don't want to sit here and sound like, these can be really scary thoughts, or they can be really exciting. And we have to embrace the exciting part, or we're defeated. And the other part of this energy, when I show you a picture of a woman and a centaur, which is unlikely to be a marriage or a domestic situation, to me, that should trigger that, hooking up with somebody and having a relationship that isn't healthy isn't a great option.
No.
I mean, that's what I mean about be honest with yourself. That person who you're focused on, or who you tune into these readings for, is there in your life for a reason. But don't be so dialed into it has to be domestic and the ball and chain and, possession, because true love is free and not possessive.
I think that's pretty much like the twin flame collective anyways, because it's always the twin who is not really married to the person. Now,
Right.
in very few cases, there are where they are married to them.
Right.
For those, maybe they've done the work and they've graduated, right? But the majority is they're in separation. The twin is married to someone else, and so is the other person. Maybe they're in another relationship, and love is love. You can love
Right.
someone without being in the what you call the nuclear uh
Right.
traditional relationship, because if you love them, you let them go.
It's cliche, but it's true.
It's true because, there's no attachment. You don't say, "You're mine, where you going?" And no,
Right.
that is too clingy. And, as an evolved soul, okay, you should know better that, you don't cling on to someone, because that is just you're setting yourself up for failure, because that's not love.
Well,
That's
we
that's the
can't look
attachment.
outside for someone to give us our fulfillment. We
Right,
need
that
to
comes from
find that.
within.
Right.
Mhm.
And then if you are so lucky enough to find the icing on the proverbial cake, great. But I read for way too many women who are just miserable because they have focused on one person
Mhm.
and that person's not interested. And it's heartbreaking, but you've got to figure that out. Why? You and I have talked about this before. Why
Mhm.
would we be interested in someone who does gaslighting, cheating, lying, ghosting? I mean, why? Why
Mhm.
would we put ourselves through that? I don't know. Maybe it makes us trigger deeper levels of our soul journey and we
Mhm.
have to go through that miserable part. But
Mhm.
let's talk about gaslighting because that's very Neptunian.
Mhm.
And it's not just between partners or potential partners. Uh, our government and media gaslights us.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm talking about. Try to unplug from it so that you can discern in your own intuition what feels right to you. And I wrote this quote down withholding information is the essence of tyranny. Control of the flow of information is the tool of the dictatorship. And that's what I mean about there are really diabolical people. And, most of us want to believe, oh, no, that's just fantasy. Oh, no. But I really have come to try to face the fact that a lot of what Hollywood has cranked out for decades is some version of the truth.
Mhm.
And I almost think I heard this put this way that some of the really uh, gory horror movie stuff is a way to prepare people for what they're getting ready to really see.
Which ones? Like like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or
Well,
like
like the,
what?
the satanic rituals and eyes wide open, things about secret societies, Manchurian Candidate, um, the manipulation from from some other level of society that I guess you could say the haves and the have-nots. And I'm trying to be careful what I say because I don't want any kind of trigger words. But when this thing all started, what back in like February of 2020.
Yeah, 2020. Mhm. I got it.
So the patents for the jabs were from 2019. So I'm really not sure how you get a patent for something that hasn't developed yet. That was the first thing that I discovered that
Mm.
I found very disturbing. I have a friend I used to work with, and we don't keep in touch so much anymore. But back then we were um, talking a little bit, and she had a friend who works in the Pentagon. And right from the beginning, she said that this attacks an R2, not connector, receptor, R2 receptor, which
Mhm.
is something in the body if you already have a compromised immune system, and that it was nothing more than population control.
Mhm.
And I did some studying on the Georgia Guidestones. And it's a very scary study to study. Look up Georgia Guidestones. And so my point is, these are fantastical, Neptunian, fantasy, out of this world ideals,
Mhm.
but they're here. And so the challenge, I think, is for us to first off detach from the electronics as much as we can. We need to have
Mhm.
our own body and balance in our systems sovereign, so that we trust your instincts. You know, everybody gets their instincts differently. If you have a lot of water in your chart, you might feel it physically in your
Mhm.
tummy. Um, Fire, it might be more in the head. But what I've always told people when they say, well, you know, I get so many voices in my head. What the hell is my intuition? And I've always been told in uh, practice, it's your first voice. And that's the scariest one, because quite often your first voice is the choice that you want to push under the rug and don't want to
Mhm.
deal with, because it's out of your comfort zone.
Mhm.
And that's what, you know, that movie about snap out of it, and
Mhm.
this is exciting. That's where I'm trying to get to, is this is exciting. Um, Looking fear in its face. Um,
So it's
retro-
almost as if you're psyching yourself up to reprogram yourself that even though that we're going through some difficult times, we need to change the outlook and
right.
not look at it for whatever we're being fed to, but really make light of the situation.
And
Because
yes, because it's a movie, it's not real.
mhm,
And this new whatever OMCM something or other, someone
yeah,
was
that thing.
yeah, the cinnamon, it spells moronic.
Huh.
And so um I want to say we're winning. I think more people are awake than not. There will be people who will never wake up. Those of us already, interested in spirituality and interested in authentic soul growth and having an authentic life as best we can, I think we're here to help those that are going to have a more difficult time with facing the fact that um, scientists in the government that prop themselves up to know everything pay millions of dollars for research to do such things as, and please brace yourself, folks, but yes, I'm the Scorpio who's going to say the thing nobody wants to say, to take the scalp of an aborted baby and sew it to the back of a lab rat to grow hair.
Oh, geez.
Now, the next time you see a balding commercial or somebody talking about, hey, we can grow your hair, let that sink in.
Mhm.
Now, I'm sure there's plenty of people that would say she is off her rocker, just, but I can only ask you to tune into your own intuition and discernment, see the absurdity of the script that has been rolled out in front of us that continues to try to manipulate us. Um, and I saw in a chat room recently where someone said, why aren't people in the United States out in the streets the way people are in Paris and Australia, all around the globe? You have people out in the streets
Mhm.
fighting for their freedom, fighting to be sovereign, fighting to not be under the boot of a tyrant. And the answer is we're armed. So You know, I'm a girl who was never around firearms growing up. I think my dad had a gun and my brothers might have, but it was not a thing around our house.
Mhm.
And I guess it was like 5 or 6 years ago. Actually, it was longer ago when the Second Amendment was threatened by government. I thought, well, I want to stand up for the Constitution and my rights, whether it's something I'm interested or not. And I landed in a safety class. And then the next thing became a carry permit. And, now I wish that I had been collecting fun guns instead of fun jewelry, but too late. But my point is, get out of your comfort zone, or the solar eclipse will trigger it for you. I mean, you either take the signs along the way and take baby steps to get yourself out of the mindset that we've been fed, and we're all shocked. I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm not devastated by this. Things I've been finding out that I believe with all my heart are true are horrendous. And now I'm mad. I'm
Mhm.
mad. Like, I remember growing up and having the milk carton with the missing kid on the side of the milk carton. I'm mad now that we didn't pay better attention to that. You know, hundreds of thousands of children go missing every year. Why aren't we upset about that? I
Mhm.
don't understand. We can get upset about what party affiliation you are. And this is so over that. I mean, there are no parties anymore. This is about truth and freedom or tyranny. It's
Mhm.
really that plain and simple. And I do feel like part of my mission here might be to say these things that are difficult to hear and difficult to look at. But I also think that if you at least consider a different way of looking at things, you're getting closer to the change we're all going through.
Mhm.
And Uranus will break us free from convention. And you brought up the nuclear family.
Mhm.
So I think most of us can say we've had an expectation or a fantasy. I know little girls are brought up to believe you're going to be the adored bride with the big dress and the lovely husband and the perfect children and the beautiful home. And God bless you if you've had that. I've not had anything close to that and don't expect it. But my point is we get sold a story,
Right.
and Disney is really in the thick of the child trafficking. And that's
Mhm.
a shocker.
Mhm.
So, where we've been sold this cartoon entertainment package, there's a very diabolical history there. Very, very. And I do think it's coming out in little drips. I think it's
Mhm.
coming out in little drips because people don't want to believe it. And this eclipse to me speaks volumes of all this last 18 months of what our society and globe has been going through, to question what is the value of freedom to you? What is love to you? Um, I, over the years, have read for lots of people, and there is definitely a theme of, I just want to win. It's the ego. I
Mhm.
just want to win. And they win that person, and then they have the same screwed up karmic cycle they've had with the other person, and it doesn't get you anywhere. So first you got to check your ego at the door. And I know, you and I, we've both been heartbroken many times by men that didn't choose us, or just went in other directions, and we're, you sit here with, why? But we also know that we don't want the same negative cycle that we've had with every relationship,
Mm-hmm.
or the codependent relationship. So these are real, Sagittarius is higher mind, higher education. And that's where we're needing to be, is a higher perspective on whatever your situation was, and a forgiveness and an acceptance and a knowingness that if that road did not unfold in front of you, it's for good reason. And
Mm-hmm.
just let it go. I hate that saying, but it's
No, I
true.
mean, it is true. It was taught to me through Buddhist philosophy, let go of attachment to any kind of outcome,
Right.
situations, a particular person, because everything is temporary. Okay. And if you are in acceptance and you live in the present moment, not in the past, not for the future, but for right now, as we're talking, then you're doing really good.
Stay in
Okay.
the moment. And the
Yeah.
other thing too that I think you and I touched on, off the live, is, we just have to, really be clear on our own value systems for what we want in a relationship,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and be honest with ourselves. And,
Right.
um, maybe I'm not cut out to be a housewife to have children.
Mhm.
I wasn't and never had kids. So I mean, that Cinderella story, I pass me on by, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and we have to accept wherever our path has taken us, that we're right where we should be, like you said, staying in the moment, and
Mhm.
that your spiritual growth and awakening never stops.
Right.
And I'm 60 years old.
Mhm.
I've lost count of how many dark nights of the souls I've had.
Mhm.
I've never had a man in a relationship that was, uh, uh, positive, honest, monogamous. I've manifested plenty of players, is what I can tell you.
Mhm.
And that's not who I am, and that's not what I want. And sometimes I
Mhm.
think it's just the universe testing me. Are you sure that's not what you want? Because you've
Mhm.
had many lifetimes of that. Or, my father and my brothers were all those kinds of guys that, you know, might have one or two altogether.
Well, something that my daddy always told me, he says a man always cheats.
Well, we've talked about this in European culture. Every wife expects her man to have the mistress on the side. It's part
Mhm.
of their culture.
Mhm.
When I studied astrology over in England and in the Greek islands, and met quite a few men astrologers who were married and would bring their mistress with them to the conference. And it was
Mhm.
just, it just is. And, everybody's got to figure out, that brings me to a book that was real popular called The Road Less Traveled. And back, I guess, I think it came out in the 90s. It could have come out in the 80s. I'm not sure, but
Mhm.
it always supported monogamy, that
Mhm.
for a relationship to be successful, it had to be monogamous. And this author, like 20, 25 years later, rewrote that chapter of the book to say, well, maybe not.
Mhm.
And then there was this whole revolution of open relationships, where people just accepted the fact that, Yeah, well, as long as we don't put it in your face, each other's face, we can, go over here and mess around and then come back to the
So,
relationship.
I just put out a book. It was called Attachment Theory, and it explains, like, people's attachment styles. And basically, these attachments are due to people's upbringings because of their childhood experiences.
Right,
And that's what they brought into their adulthood. The flip side of what I also saw was that there's an attachment theory into polyamory, like poly relationships, and making it work in a sense because of those attachment situations. So the thing where it makes it work, and I'm not saying I'm condoning it, but I'm
yeah,
open to those situations because different people learn from different techniques,
right,
okay, or different ways.
right,
So if you're in a polyamorous relationship, what I found is that there are qualities of the spouse that could be perfect, but in some places is not. But it's being triggered by another, person that they're dating, and they get to learn from experience, uh, soul growth with
right,
another partner. But at the same
right,
token, they get to stay in their bubble relationship, of the perfect happy family on the outside. But
right.
it takes other people to bring the spiritual aspect of that person, and everybody gets to be happy. Everyone is in the relationship, but it does take work. It's not
Yeah,
like a situation where, there's no jealousy or no um anger or resentment, because there's a lot of that actually goes on in those types of
it
relationships. but
is. And
but
that's
it's
that whole thing about higher perspective,
mhm,
and what is your spiritual journey? What are your needs?
mhm.
So
Well,
it's very interesting. But you said the key thing to me, you said, is keep an open mind, because everybody
right,
is different. Everybody's love language is different.
right. Yeah, you can't judge or condone someone that just because, they're not just for one couple, that, that's the wrong way of having a relationship. Love is love.
That's right. And
you know?
these energies we're in is the opportunity for us to get down to what's really real for you.
Mhm.
What is it that you seek in a higher love? I keep getting that Steve Winwood song, Higher Love. I can't tell you, it resonates around in my head this whole
Right.
week.
And I think that that's where, it's very similar. Like, let's put the twin flame perspective, right? Let's say our twin is in a monogamous relationship, but how come they're always going outside of their marriage? And let's say it's with their twin. It's the same kind of idea, of going outside of their normal traditional values of what society think is, tradition,
It's
and how
very
come.
interesting. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not a black and white subject.
it's
And
not, but, the good thing is that at least the whole spiritual aspect that you get from different types of relationships, that's the bottom line, as long as you
yeah,
learn, what works, what doesn't work, how could you really work on, your childhood woundings or any kind of insecurities or
right.
anything like that. Every little bit, goes along the way, and it could be with the karmic partner, it could be with the twin, it could be with the soul partner, whatever label you want to put it, you know. The bottom line is that, we're all learning how to, learn more about ourselves through other people so that we can actually better ourselves, from
Yes.
within,
And not rely on someone outside of ourselves to complete us,
Right.
that we're both individuals who know yourself well and know what you need. And the open-minded part, and I think the piece that I struggle with is we all do have a different love language,
Mhm.
and being open to learning. It's so hard to even meet someone and then take time to get to know them and then take time to understand their love language.
Oh,
Life
it
has
takes work.
gotten so
Like,
busy, and
yeah.
everybody's like just trying to pay the bills and keep the job, and if they have kids, or aging parents. I mean, there's just so many distractions that I think that learning someone's love language and having a really spiritual, fulfilling, and healthy relationship just gets put on the bottom of the list, honestly. Um, and that's okay. We're all here to, just like you said, live and learn, and be the best version of ourselves that we can be. I
Mhm.
guess my message with the solar eclipse is to, take some time to get out in nature and away from the electronics and away from um, perceptions that the news would have you believe, so that you can listen to your heart and listen to your fears and listen to your tears. Do whatever you need to do to feel sovereign within yourself, because
Mhm.
that's the only way you're going to be any good for somebody else, is that you're good. I'm good,
Right. You have
and
to. You have to
yeah,
fill your own cup. You can't,
right.
just, look for somebody and then you're gonna be disappointed because whoever that you're looking towards, and let's say it's not your twin, it's somebody brand new. And it's a revelation that, you think that you've worked on yourself, but how come you're manifesting people
Yeah,
who
different
need some
face,
work?
same
Yeah, it's
habits.
like,
Yeah.
no thanks, It's like, I don't wanna babysit, I don't wanna teach nobody. You're looking for someone who is your equal, and it's gonna be difficult to find someone like that. But what I realize is that if you find someone that you're in resonance with, like, have some kind of connection, that actually develops over time. It
I
takes,
like,
like
do you ever listen to that Abraham Hicks, their
Mhm.
channelings? One of the things she said one time, if she met someone, she would say, well, I like you. Okay. We can see how it goes. That would be the vow. It's like,
Well, this is
stay
the
in the
thing that
moment.
yeah, this is what my mama told me. She's like, "Don't marry for love. That you can work that out later.
Oh,
Marry
mom.
marry for security." I was
Oh,
like, "Oh,
yeah.
okay." I was like, "Mom," I was
Well,
like, "Didn't you watch those dramas?"
I'm glad you brought up that, because these patterns in ourselves are generational.
Mhm.
And these times we live in are about breaking generational karmas.
Mhm.
My mom, uh, you know, came up with, you meet the man, you have the home, you have the children. And one of the saddest things she ever told me was, my dad was a World War II veteran. And when you were back in the war, when you went on leave, they gave you a carton of cigarettes and a fifth of liquor. And a lot of those young men came home with too much liking of the drink.
Right.
And my dad was never a violent drunk, but
Mhm.
he would drink and go silent and be withdrawn, which
Mhm.
can be just as emotionally abusive as if they'd hit you. I mean, you can't get
Right.
anything out of them, right? And
Right.
but she told me that if in the 50s it had been more acceptable in society to be a divorced woman, at that time she had 3 boys, that she
Mhm.
would have. And I believe now, and I've embraced it. I mean, you do what you do, but she raised me by projecting what her desires would have been.
So
She would
that's
have
the
wanted to be,
enmeshment.
yes, a
Yeah.
free and independent woman. She would tell me, you don't need a man to be happy. If you find a nice one, kudos. It's icing on the cake. But the bottom
Mhm.
line is to be able to take care of yourself. Don't feel like you have to rely on somebody else. And, I've always been very independent. I've always taken care of myself. I've
Mhm.
always had a hard time receiving help.
Mhm.
I've always wanted to be the one to give the help.
Mhm.
And when I look, sometimes, when I look back, I mean, part of my spiritual purging and growth has been a resentment that, damn, I mean, when you're so independent, it's hard to know how to interact with somebody to let them help you.
Right.
But I just keep always think of things my mom would say, and in her life and the
Mhm.
choices she made, she wasn't happy.
Mhm.
And so she wanted her daughter, I was the only daughter, she wanted her
Mhm.
daughter to experience what she perceived as happiness, and that would
Mhm.
be independent, free, and that's
And
Sagittarius.
now
It's double
now
Sagittarius, they
they're
want their
acting
freedom.
more like the masculine energy and not so much the
Right,
feminine energy of receiving, so now you've kind of been programmed,
right.
into having
I've gotta be
difficulties.
strong. Yeah, be
Yeah.
strong. Don't depend on anybody.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
all have our struggles, but I do believe, bottom line, if you meditate on what your parents and their parents and their parents and the generations within your family unit, you will recognize the patterns, and we are in times of breaking generational patterns.
Mhm.
And it's exciting, it's like Scotty. It's like, wow, this is exciting. But there was also some information about how some of this space age equipment and satellites that affect us here on the surface of the planet can make us feel drained or negative. There's been speculation about chemtrails and what actually are coming out of these planes that are chemtrails.
Oh, I
Uh,
noticed some over my house the other day.
I had them today, and what I was on some channel recently said that they are releasing. I'm not going to pronounce it right, but the hydrochloroquine, and
Mhm.
that it's a way for healing what we've all been through. Because when you read this psychologist's report about mass formation, society has bonded over fear, something fearful,
Mhm.
because humans need to bond. And so that's, I think, where the crumbling of our realities uh, has begun. We've definitely been in energetic shifts for a few years, and we're pretty much, kind of getting to the pinnacle of like revaluation of money,
Mhm.
devolution. These are all very real. And I wasn't sure if I'd said it right last time, but we've been in a Georgian calendar moving to a Julian calendar. Who knows if that's right or not?
Mhm.
Um, so I think it's very interesting. It's exciting. It's certainly out of your going through your week 9 to 5 and punching the clock and cooking dinner and taking care of the kids and doing
I
your
definitely
routine.
do not live that kind of a lifestyle. I'm always, like, trying to educate myself, trying to, use my discernment, like, what kind
Yeah,
of information I'm receiving, especially with the whole
that's why you're a
monetary
teacher.
system.
That's why you
Yeah.
have your channel, and you're out there doing your spiritual work. And
Well, thank you. I
and
try. Thank
yeah,
you
you
for being a
are.
part of it.
It's to encourage others too, to listen to your inner voice and
Mhm.
unplug from some kind of movie that's not, there's something not right. We don't really know what it
Right.
is, but something's not right. And
Well, I think it's like a control issue, that there are some bigger people on this planet who has definite control over, over the masses, over the economy, over like what we consume, and it goes
I
way
tell you,
beyond that.
another thing, Neptune rules, and you can
Mhm.
apply it in our 3D lives this week with it going direct. it rules oil
Huh.
and refineries.
Well, that was funny because I was telling you I was investing
Isn't that
into oil.
interesting?
Yeah.
Well, also this whole debacle about releasing reserves and shutting down pipelines.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I would say is that, if you're in the business of, having a few whales, go ahead and start producing.
I'll tell you what I've bought recently.
Mm-hmm.
I, tend to listen to channels from other countries, and
Mm-hmm.
this whole idea about revaluation, resetting the value of money or currency,
Mm-hmm.
and the just like crypto was kind of a thing, especially 10 years ago. If you invested in crypto, you're really well off right now. Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
I waited too long, and I've just sort of stumbled along with it. I may a little bit, but certainly not to be able to quit work and
Right. Like
do what I
some
really
people
want to
do.
do. But yeah, I bought some Vietnamese dong and Zim um, with dinar, the Iranian
Mm-hmm.
dinar. That this whole concept of RV is connected to the dinar. And once that is reset, it's a domino effect for all the other countries. And the United States is heading that way. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
positive thing. I think if nothing else, if my message could be get excited, because
Mm-hmm.
yes, our world is getting triggered and changed, but it's all for the positive. The idea of uh, if you had, if you didn't have to worry about money and
Mm-hmm.
you wanted to do something for humanity, what would be your project? What is it that you would like to do if money were not the problem?
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be opportunities. I encourage people to like start taking notes and get an outline together of what would be your soul's first choice mission if
Mm-hmm.
money were no object for you, and there was a resource for you to be able to be invested in or funded to do what you want to do. What is it? Start
Mm-hmm.
writing that down. When you detach from the electronics and you're out sitting next to the river or the beach or wherever you can go to just detach, have your notebook and start making notes. What is in your heart? What do you want to do? And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that would enhance your life and other people's lives here and now. And that's the best way to use this energy. And it's very, very exciting. I get so sick and tired of the fear mongering, and the negativity. I just, for some people, when they're just so negative, I just want to, doesn't it hurt your head to be that negative? I mean, isn't it painful to be that negative? I mean,
I just don't believe it. I was
right.
just, "Oh, not this
I
bullshit
know.
again," like, okay, like, anything new for today? Like, it's
Right.
nothing that we haven't heard, and it's like they're still trying to suppress us with, X, Y,
Yes.
and Z, like, news, and so
Yes.
whatever, right? Can we just live our life and, like, skinny dip in a freaking ocean
There you
and
go.
freaking have, like, a campfire on the
Yeah.
beach or something, Can we just do
Well,
that?
the other thing too that Sagittarius makes me feel is the multidimensional travel, right?
Mhm,
So that you're not limited to just this plane. When you unhook from the program and just allow your own creative energy and heart and mind to just be and allow the feelings and ideas to come, you could travel, interplanetarily. You
mhm,
could time travel.
mhm,
Um, that's what I'm excited about. Is any of us that have been in esoterics or metaphysics. I've been metaphysical since I was 10 or 12 years old when I found my first astrology book. And so, and I've been judged all my life for that in a
mhm,
negative connotation, right? So for me, it's like, okay, this This is becoming more acceptable. Astrology is being looked upon as a language and something maybe useful. Numerology. Let me read you something that's also a bookmark in my old ephemeris here from Albert Einstein. I
Oh,
saw
okay.
this the other day. Astrology is a science in itself and contains an illuminating body of knowledge. It taught me many things, and I am greatly indebted to it. Geophysical evidence reveals the power of the stars and the planets in relation to the terrestrial. In turn, astrology reinforces this power to some extent. This is why astrology is like a life-giving elixir to mankind. And now there is a dispute in the astrology community as to whether Albert Einstein really said this. I'm going with he said it, right?
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
But I'm just saying, there are astrologers say, oh, Albert Einstein never said that. Okay, well, you believe whatever makes you feel good, and I'll believe what makes me feel good. And that kind of in itself is a synopsis of this energy, is you figure out what you believe and what your heart's desire is on a higher perspective, on a more spiritual plane, and allow the next person and your neighbor and whoever you're around to believe what they want to believe. And we have these positive dissertations and interactions. We are not built to be isolated and pitted against each other. So gosh, that's kind of a good place to stop right there with Albert Einstein.
Okay, yeah.
Let's see. I did make a few notes about the upcoming full moon in Gemini, since Gemini is the twin flame symbology. And during that time, within a day, the planet Venus will go retrograde in Capricorn. And when Venus goes retrograde, it can bring issues with love and money back to you. Retrograde is kind of going over ground you've already covered.
Right.
It also is introspection. It could be more of the searching your soul.
Like, is this what I signed up for? Do I really want to continue?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, Neptune trining Mars. So that teaches just how paradoxical and ironic life is.
Right.
And, you can hide in your living room and be scared of that, or, take your shoes off, walk barefoot outside and do something you haven't done since you were a kid, reconnect to that childlike innocence when you were a kid. And that's usually something really simple. I love my dogs. They teach me so much about life. And one of the things is you can spend tons of money on all kinds of fun toys for them, but they'll be entertained with an empty plastic bottle or a stick.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we're at. It's like you can have all the toys and bells and whistles and best things. And none of that is going to give your soul fire. Your soul gets fired up when you get still, unplug from the electronics, and just allow the creativity in your mind to develop and take notes. And honestly, I think you'll probably agree, when you get away from the electronics and all of that plugged into, hanging on every next report or whatever, it's almost like you can't even look. Like, I can't even look anymore, really. I mean, I'll peek because I really want to see what the ridiculousness is trying to spin. But it physically makes me ill to try to watch some of this ridiculousness.
I mean, that's how I feel about Facebook. Like,
I haven't been on Facebook in years.
Right.
I never really was big on it.
Mhm.
I feel like I should try to get more on it for my business, but
Right.
not with all of the censorship and political connotation. I mean, if it were just a
Right.
creative platform to help people, do their business, great. But all of the, I unplugged with the 2016 election because all the politics and hatefulness between people just was awful.
Mhm.
I mean, people, we are
Mhm.
so much more than that.
Right.
And get excited because you're going to find out some really wild and wonderful things.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. No, I mean, to me, like, the energies have been really, like, all over the place for me. So I'm just excited that I get to relax this weekend and unwind,
Yes.
like you say, and kind of disconnect, from the internet or doing any kind of like, just like electronic type
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah,
Yeah.
the other than watching my dramas, other than that. I have to watch my dramas tonight. I got a lineup.
Oh, good. Well,
Oh, so you ready?
you want
Okay.
some dice?
Yeah,
Should we roll
sure.
some dice on what all this is all about, Alfie? What's it all
Yeah,
about, Alfie?
yeah,
I'm into
sure.
movies today. I mean, for some reason, it's like I was getting all of these movie scenes in my head.
No, that's good. That's good reference so that it's like kind of like pulling
Snap
out
out of it.
from the archives.
I loved him though. He was like, gosh, I love this ship. This is exciting, And here he
Uh-huh.
had been like tossed from another planet to another planet and down the rabbit hole and into the cave and around we go. All right,
Uh-huh.
just for a completion roll for what my observation is on the solar eclipse today and in the wee hours of tomorrow morning. Let's see what spirit would have us contemplate.
Okay.
It's exciting.
Oh,
Jupiter and Aries in the fifth house. So that's expansion with your children, your creativity. And fifth house is love affairs, not so much love commitments, but affairs. If you're open for an affair, it might be a fiery one with Aries. And Jupiter might be somebody who has a large girth.
sorry. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
laugh that loud. Um,
It's true. These planets do often describe physical parts of people and their body size and the way their hair, whether they're light haired or dark skinned or whatever. I mean, and Jupiter is someone. Well, the Centaur. You see him. He is.
mhm.
He's.
Well, Jupiter is the biggest planet, isn't
It
it?
is. That's why it
Mhm.
means things on a very large scale and expanding your idea. We're talking about getting your outline together for your
Mhm.
humanitarian mission that you would like to embark on. If money were
Mhm.
no issue, what would it be?
Yeah.
And what did you get?
I have new
New
beginnings.
beginnings. All right. The new moon.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, yeah, we're all in alignment, and I see that this new beginning, I really feel that it's going to be grounded. So, if there's something that a project that you need to work on, or you put it on the back burner, I really feel like now's the time to kind of pull it out and just really just work on it, right?
good
Because that
advice.
will actually kind of help you break away from the internet, at least for the next couple of weeks,
Yes.
to really embark on something new. And this is fresh. It's like looking at things from a fresh new perspective. Maybe there is like a new idea that needs to come out. And that's what I'm seeing. And also I see her personal growth, it's possibly looking into your higher self. Is that what you have also?
So Aries would be what you just said about new beginnings and bringing out old projects to start over, get fired up.
Mhm. Oh,
Aries
yeah, definitely.
Lion.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And just really working on yourself and really seeing the higher self, of what you need to do to change,
And
you know?
children. Also,
Yeah.
being a good influence for children.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that could actually help you, especially, for really working on yourself with this personal growth here.
Yes.
Definitely.
The seven. Yes.
And also I have your healing. People aren't really working on themselves. It's time to really break away from the past, old ways of thinking, old love,
Those generational patterns in families.
and look at this, 6 plus 6 equals 12. And isn't like the eclipse at the 12
It
degree?
is. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
So I have a feeling like if you really feel that now's the time to really start on something new, why don't you work on personal healing and really grow on that? And then I see here abundance. So yeah, this is really positive, and unexpected, right?
Yeah.
So I really feel that we can also gain something. It doesn't have to be financial. It could be, but I really feel like
Freedom.
this.
How about
Yeah,
freedom?
yeah,
Freedom
definitely.
of choice and freedom of choice. Freedom of choice.
And also love,
Love.
abundance and love. And it's like an expansion, like you say, with the Jupiter energy, but it all comes from the healing from within. That's what I'm getting from that.
That's the sign. That's the glyph for Jupiter.
Okay.
Er.
Yeah.
What's
So
next?
so that's what I have. I don't know. Do you want to go through the zodiac signs or
It is up to you and your viewers. This is
okay.
my entertainment tonight, and I hope to be here to impart some kind of valuable insight for all of
Okay.
us.
Well, let's go ahead and ask the collective here that is in the chat. So, for the ones that are in the room, um, do you guys want us to go through the zodiac signs? Shabaka says yes, please. Okay.
Okay, I like that enthusiasm.
Yes, please.
Yes,
All
please.
caps. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So, um,
How do you want to do
I'll
it?
I'll let you lead, and you can
Okay,
go through the normal zodiac order, which I think starts with Aries, right? Or you can
Aries.
do it with Sag, whatever. Like you
We're
take the
going to
lead.
do with Aries. We'll start with the natural zodiac, and that would be Aries. And
Okay.
what does Aries need to know for the next couple of weeks, triggered by this Sagittarian solar eclipse holding hands with Mercury? Oh my goodness, we got Aries. Oh my goodness, we got Mercury and Aries in the 12th house. So Aries is going to be facing their fears. The 12th house is the anxiety closet. And so this would be definitely the pioneer and getting out in front of a problem as opposed to anxious or oppressed by it.
And here I have,
Individuality.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So like really like, staying sovereign and really grounding themselves,
Yes.
finding stability. Yeah.
Yes.
So definitely.
One
Okay.
looking at itself at one. And then,
Hmm.
okay, are we ready for Taurus?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
So during this eclipse, we have the planet Uranus at 11 degrees Taurus. So that connects with that 11 degrees you just got. So,
Oh, awesome.
Taurus, what do you need to be open to or work on for this Sagittarian solar eclipse? We've got an Earth sign. We have Pluto in Capricorn, which that's where Pluto is right now in the sky in the fifth house. Pluto
Mhm.
in Capricorn in the fifth house. The fifth house is children and your childlike essence and creativity, domestic harmony. The fifth
Mhm.
house can also be home and love.
Mhm.
But
Also
Pluto in
about money too.
Capricorn is working at those things. It might be
Mhm.
working at teaching children something. It might be Pluto is value systems, teaching children value systems.
Mhm.
That's an interesting thing because we have all this controversy in our educational system right now. So Taurus might be connecting to situations involving their children in school.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's where they need to focus on this
Yes.
domestic harmony and bring
Homeschooling,
balance.
maybe.
Yeah.
Homeschooling and that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. All right.
So Gemini during this solar eclipse has the North Node at 1 degree. So that's a new beginning, like we were talking about. All of this stuff connects together. So, what would Gemini want to be praying on or meditating on for the solar eclipse? Oh, we have Gemini. You know, I am rolling these dice and I keep getting the fifth house. So this is Uranus in Gemini in the fifth house.
Hmm.
Uranus is sudden change, uh, evolution, revolution. So in the fifth house, that might be the twins evolving a new way of doing something, a new way of communicating. But the fifth house is, that's Leo's house, which is all about art and creativity. So I would say for the Gemini to, you know, explore artistic expression within themselves.
Okay. So here I have completion, but it came up in reverse. So I have a feeling that Gemini needs to really complete those projects or, work on, closing out any kind of cycles that they put on the back burner.
Yeah.
That's the feeling that I'm getting with that. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah, I really feel like, maybe it feels like procrastination. Maybe they've been holding back, not really working on the things that they really needed to work on. So now's the time to do it. That's what I'm feeling on that one.
Just
Yeah.
do it. Just
Do
do it.
it. Yes, Gemini, just do it.
So then we have Cancer the crab. That's where my moon is. So Cancer, what should Cancer be doing during the solar eclipse? North Node in Pisces in the second house is all about your financial house and your values about finances. It could, North Node, mean um, fated encounter of some time, of some kind, that is connected to material possessions. And in Pisces, that could be, so this is our financial venture capitalist for our spiritual mission.
Sounds good because I see her individuality. So
Okay.
maybe it's time to just go out and go renegade on something, like
Yeah. Well, and so Cancer is water, Pisces is water. So this is also connected to trusting your intuition. And like I
Mhm.
said, that first voice a lot of times can be kind of scary. Like you don't want to do what your first voice says, but that
Mhm.
is your intuition or instinct. And that's the very thing you should do. So this
Mhm.
sounds like North Node is faded and in a water sign Pisces, that you have spiritual universal support behind you to step out and address that financial fear or something about material possessions.
Well, I think that they should go for it. I think that, maybe they're just too attached to, other things, and
Home.
so it's yeah,
Cancers like to just be home
yeah, so
in the kitchen,
yeah, in the kitchen.
nurturing with good food. That's
That
what
actually
Cancer's
sounds
all
good.
about.
I'll be down with the Cancer because Scorpio moon's hungry.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the mother. Cancer is all about, the breast and stomach and the mother and the nurturer.
Uh-huh. I I like that. I like that Cancerian energy.
Yes. It gives me the dickens, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I have Cancer and Venus within a couple of degrees of each other.
Oh,
Cancer.
okay.
Yeah. So
Aw.
I'm a real sentimental, family orientated mush.
Mhm.
I cry at sad
Softy.
commercials. So
You're a real softy.
I am. Yes, I am. So then we have Leo, which is my
Okay.
son. I'm a Leo Cancer person. What does Leo need to do with this Sagittarius solar eclipse? Oh, we have Sagittarius. Oh my goodness. Fifth house again. So we have wow, Mars in Sagittarius, which gets things done. That's
Mhm.
fire for creative projects. I like that. Yeah.
So, what I have here is personal growth in reverse. So, I have a feeling that, maybe you guys need to work more on yourself. There's something that, maybe you're blocking.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, like your
Scared.
intuition or, yeah, like maybe don't want to go too gung ho, but
So, for being a Leo and you to say that, what comes to my mind is scared to submit a manuscript for publication because of the rejection. Scared to
got
be
it.
rejected for a piece of creative work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
And I should just
sometimes
just
too
go do it
much.
and get it out there, whether I'm rejected or not.
So, in other words, Leo, go for it.
Go for it. Yeah, that seems to be a theme, doesn't it? Which is
Yeah,
so appropriate for Sagittarius because they go for it. Yeah,
right, right.
yeah.
Yeah, my son's a Sag.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He he
Um,
he don't hold
I
back.
knew
He tells
that.
me
Why
where
did
he
I?
wants to go. Like,
Yeah, and
"Okay,
like
thank you."
the truth. One of the sayings about Sag is I've seen it in one of those little one-liner things. Uh, when a Sag wakes up in the morning, the devil says, "Oh shit, he's up," because they pretty much say it like it is and
Oh,
want the
yeah,
truth.
he's pretty blunt and to the point, but
Yeah,
he doesn't lie, but he is autistic, so,
yeah,
yeah, well, there's I don't know, but you get what I'm saying, but
I do.
yeah, he's very, blunt and straightforward.
Well, I'd rather someone be that way than not.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
I'll take that any day.
Yes. So we have Virgo, your rising.
Yes.
So what does Virgo need to do during the Sagittarius solar eclipse the next couple of weeks?
Get out of hermit mode. Go outside.
Isn't that funny? That is so funny you said that because we have Venus in Virgo in the third house, which is
Oh.
expression, communicating, circulating. This could be communicating with a sibling. Third house can be childhood friends or our siblings, but
Mhm.
and communicating. And so also during this solar eclipse is Mercury, the planet of communication, sitting right there as well. So Venus and Virgo, communicating a desire.
Mhm. Yeah. So this is what I have. I have a relationship change. It
Oh,
actually came up in reverse. So
the
what this
11th card.
tells me is that Virgo is kind of stuck on a relationship, but they're not, open to communicate about this change. Also, this is about a past relationship. They're kind of stuck in their old ways, is what I'm feeling. Also, they lost their sense of adventure. They need to like shake themselves up and kind of wake up from that slumber, you know what I mean?
Virgos want it all so perfect, they stop themselves because they strive for perfection. And that the lesson for them to learn is there's no such thing as perfect.
Mm, okay. Well, I get that because I'm a Virgo rising.
Yes, yes. My dad was too.
Yeah.
Yes, he'd procrastinate a lot about getting something done because it wasn't going to be perfect enough for something. God, I
Right.
can remember hundreds of stories about him procrastinating over getting something perfect and therefore nothing would get done.
Right, right.
Okay, well, next is Libra. And for this solar eclipse chart, we have the part of fortune at 17 degrees of Libra. The part of fortune is a mathematical calculation. It's not an actual planet or anything. And it says of how we make our fortune. It rules the seventh house, so it might mean through partnerships is how fortune is made.
Yeah.
And that is Mercury in Cancer in the third house. So this has to do with family, money through family.
I have new beginnings, so there could be a fresh new start, maybe
Mhm.
dealing with family, you know. Definitely a sense of grounding
You know
and
what else
starting
this could
something
be?
new.
Mercury and Cancer in the third house could mean getting contacted that your long lost uncle you never knew you had has, half a million dollars for you in his will, or Mercury in the third house, Cancer, could be communication from the past, family related.
Okay. Sounds good. So,
Also third house, a lot of us, may have grown up where in our childhood, it wasn't a sibling, but we were real close with a neighbor or something like that, or a cousin, just someone in our childhood that we were as close as a sibling to.
and that could be where they have like a new start, like a new found relationship or sense of
Yeah.
renewal.
Yeah.
Having something fresh.
Yes, that is fortunate. The
Mm-hmm.
part of fortune there. It could mean
Yeah, because
reconnecting with someone from the past on a new project that makes good money.
yeah,
And
because
also Libra is the justice system, the legal system. So it could be forming LLC together, or, your new project of forming a new company together with someone from the past.
I definitely do see that they're a little bit more grounded. Okay,
Mhm.
and their money situation is looking pretty solid on that one
Yes.
too. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, with Scorpio in this solar eclipse chart, we have the planet Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Mars really likes being in Scorpio. It just gets things done. So what
Mm-hmm.
does a Scorpio need to do? We have, expand. Jupiter in Virgo in the first house. Scorpios need to watch their calorie intake, because Jupiter in the first house is your body expanding. Mars in Scorpio, you might get pregnant and start expanding. This is
uh,
fun. I like coming up with all these different scenarios.
Well, Scorpios, okay, just
What
keep
did
to
you get?
yourself, because I see here a spiritual partnership, but it's in
Ah,
reverse. So maybe you're not with a spiritual partner. Maybe you wanna be careful, because I also see here this orange Merkaba, which is the sacral chakra. Okay, so don't do something that you regret the next day. Okay, this is a decision you have to make. You have to be spiritual. Okay, don't how do I put this?
raw.
Don't cave in for a one night stand. How's
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Um, Jupiter also brings in the foreign culture element. It could
Mhm.
mean traveling to a foreign country, or
Mhm.
someone from a foreign country being at your home.
Okay.
Because first house is physically where you are
Mhm.
and your body.
Okay.
All right. So then we have
So
Sagittarius.
don't get swayed by some foreign person
Yeah.
coming to your house.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. That little quick trip over to Italy, keep it real, or
oh,
I go back to Kos. I
I
just had
know,
a
right?
flash of
Some Greek
Kos.
man.
Okay.
Is that where we're gonna
Now
find that centaur?
oh gosh, yes, in my in another dimension, no doubt.
Yeah, there we go, in our dreams, right?
Right, right. He's
So who's
pretty
after?
hunky. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Um So now we have Sagittarius, and the Sun, Moon, and Mercury are all clustered up for our solar eclipse. So what's Sagittarius all about? We have Mercury again in Capricorn in the eighth house. So Capricorn, Mercury, eighth house could be definitely someone investing in you. The eighth
Mhm.
house represents other people's money investing in you. It's also could mean communication of a new job or opportunity.
Mhm.
What does that say?
Financial discipline in
Ah,
reverse.
okay.
So I really feel like Sag may not be practicing the best in regards to investments or money. It's something that they need to really be disciplined in. And it's almost as if, it's like, what do they feel in regards to money. That's the kind of feeling that I'm getting, you know.
Well, just so we're realistic here and not everything is unicorns and butterflies, this could
Mhm.
be communication of a defraud of some financial kind being
Right.
in reverse like that. Yeah. Somebody
Mhm.
you gave your money to invest was
And now
not
you lost
ethical.
it, right? And it was supposed to work out, or is a working
Or the
situation.
government. I mean,
Mhm.
Capricorn is the government and authority, so you may find out that the government's been stealing money. Oh my.
Right. Siphoning pennies
Imagine that.
by the day.
Yeah, right. Nanosecond, actually.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. So now we have Capricorn, and in our solar return chart, we have Venus and Pluto there.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. That's new opportunities. So what's Capricorn need to do for the solar eclipse? Pluto in Cancer in the sixth house. So that's work related. Sixth house is what you do for work, and it's specifics to nurses, healers, people in the holistic field. Cancer there, it's the mom and the nurturer, Mother Earth, using holistic modems for healing. And Pluto would be, finding those new ways. I really do believe our society is heading towards, because you keep seeing these hospitals close down. So people are forced to find like the old ways or natural ways for healing things.
Yeah. Especially with diet, eating the right
Yes.
things.
Cleaning up the food chain.
Yeah, also like
We're
making
discovering
sure.
how messed up the food chain has been that's messed up people's bodies.
Right. So let's see, because one won't come out. Oh, we have music. That's
Oh,
different.
that's
Yeah.
healing. Those what you can listen to, the different megahertz that resonate with your vibration and detox
Mm-hmm.
your body from unnatural things.
Right. And I was just talking about that earlier about the Schumann resonance,
Yes.
how it's playing that in the background and
And you know what else is, each planet and the earth does have a tone
mm-hmm.
which can make music.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of resonates to our whole theme of step away from the artificial electrical impulses.
Mm-hmm.
Get away from the manipulation of your energetic field, and listen, like, isn't there recordings out there that is the sound that the earth makes?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
Schumann resonance. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And there's other frequencies that you could possibly like look into that helps. I think it's like more I forget what it's called, but subliminal uh uh
It's
waves
different. Yeah, it's
like
different megahertz for vibration, for frequencies.
right. I had a boyfriend and my ex-boyfriend, he actually gave me a whole thing about it. He's a geek. I think I still have it on my phone somewhere.
Is he the one you said no to?
Now, this was the muscle guy that I dated, and I was drowning in the ocean, and I had a lifeguard save me, and he was only like 6 feet away from me in the ocean. Can you believe that?
No.
Yeah, that's why I really don't care if a man has muscles because that doesn't mean nothing to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I don't care if you have muscles or don't have muscles. Like
just be a good person, right?
after that, I was like, that was a red flag. That was the first red flag I had.
Yeah, if you're drowning in the ocean and they don't reach out to help you, that might be a sign.
Well, he thought I was joking.
Right.
No, I wasn't joking. I was drowning, asshole. Like,
Golly, Ned. So how many signs did it take before you kicked him to the curb?
um, until he went to Charlotte. So this was back in North Carolina when I used to live in North Carolina, and ironically, that was the last boyfriend I had before I met my twin. And yeah, it was a snowstorm, and he by chance was driving to Charlotte, and I'm like, "Why are you going to Charlotte?" "Oh, well, these guys from the gym, they wanted to go eat sushi, so I went
Right.
and I just
Oh,
stayed
that's a
in the
new
hotel."
creative one.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, so what did you wear?" I said, "Because he goes in the buff. He doesn't have pajamas. He doesn't wear underwears when he goes to sleep." I was like, "So what, were you sleeping naked with those 2 dudes too?" Like, "Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Okay,
you
the
can't
song
tell
that
me."
keeps coming around in my head is Stevie Nicks, Players Only Love You When They're Playing.
Well, so the whole thing about our relationship was that he lived 2 hours away from me at the time, and so we kinda had a semi long distant relationship, and I think that he got tired of seeing me every weekend, and then I told him, I said, "Well, I'll drive to you, on every other weekend if you wanted me to." And so, we kinda did that. So he got to see my city, I got to go visit his city, and then, I think he, got a little adventurous. So this is what happened. He wasn't an alcoholic drinker until his coworkers told him, "Hey, let's go out to the bar." And I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Well, why are you going to the bar when you're not an alcoholic
To see
drinker?"
the strippers. No, I'm
Well,
kidding.
I don't know
I'm
what
just
kind of
kidding.
bar he went to, but, one thing led to another, and then, he's just talking about like, well, my buddies from the gym, wanted to go try sushi in Charlotte. I was like, okay, Charlotte was like 2 hours away from where he
Wow.
was living. So he was the type of person, I guess, who would date anybody within the state. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't matter. He was driving, and he likes to drive, I guess. So,
Wow.
yeah. He was a Pisces, by the way.
We should compile a book of all of our creative excuses and relationships that have tried to snow us or something like that.
I've heard it all and I've seen it all. That's why, you
Yeah.
know, being an intuitive, it's very hard to, take someone seriously
Yeah.
when you kinda call their bluff. And it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you went where? Okay."
Yeah. Right. Right.
Oh, how much longer are you gonna lie to me on this one, you know? That's why it's very difficult for empaths or psychics or, someone who is really intuitive to really date or put themselves out there because you can really sense
A lot of games. A
the
lot of
bullshit.
games. Yeah. People, that's again about, stuffing stuff under the rug you don't want to deal with because whatever your first voice is just out of your comfort zone and you don't want to do it. So you do the same pattern that, your
Well,
mother,
you
your
try to
father,
give
your
them the
grandmother,
benefit
your
of the doubt.
grandfather, all of them did. Yeah.
Yeah, you try to, like, not put them in that same category as everyone else,
Oh,
you know?
yeah. You got to stay open, give everybody
Yeah, you
their
try,
share.
but then they prove themselves that, yeah, you're in that category.
Right. It's so
So
okay. So
I
then
think
we
we're going to Pisces now, right?
no,
I'm
we're going
kidding.
to Aquarius. We
Oh,
haven't done
Aquarius?
Aquarius. And for
Okay.
this solar eclipse, we have Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. So those are, Aquarius is all about aliens, UFOs, deep space, the esoteric, astrology, metaphysics, electronics. The sun in Cancer in the sixth house. So this would be writing new software if you're an software engineer, or sixth house again is your job, what you do for a living. Sun in Cancer would be a teacher, mother figure, maybe either showing you something new or you showing other people. You could be in either role.
Well, what I have here is karmic completion, but it's in reverse. So there's something karmically that they need to really close out. Okay. They're not feeling
Maybe with
very,
the mother, with sun
yeah.
in Cancer, home, childhood, mother. That's also the grave. I mean, that's the end of the matter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still have to work on it, and I feel like, around this, time, that's something that they need to look at, and what is actually going to bring them stability and closing out this cycle.
And it could make them have a really upset stomach to think about, because
Uh-huh.
cancers keep their emotions in their stomach. So that could
Mhm.
be indigestion.
Oh, isn't this Aqua that we're talking about, Aquarius?
Yeah, but I got sun in Cancer for them.
Oh, okay, got it, got it.
Yeah, yeah, the mother, the home,
Mhm.
emotions, psychic ability. So I was thinking a job in writing software.
Okay.
It could be,
Uh,
you know how they've done these smart homes where from your phone you can find what's in your freezer and it'll tell you what you
mhm.
need for your dinner, or you can turn your lights or security on, you can
Right.
watch your dogs playing whatever remotely from your phone. That kind of software of smart homes, smartphones, something maybe to
Mhm.
do with that.
Okay.
Now we have Pisces and we have Neptune sitting there. So we've talked a lot about Neptune tonight. What would Pisces benefit from in this solar eclipse? We have Mars in Libra in the second house. This would be a legal settlement of some sort. Um, Mars in Libra, pioneering some kind of new I want to say scale or balance. I don't know where that's coming from. Second house, our money, material possessions. This could be splitting material possessions, having a
Hmm.
fight with somebody in a battle over material possessions or money.
Well, I have a lot that came up for Pisces
Oh, wow.
also. Yeah, they need to focus more on their health. Maybe their health situation isn't too good, and I really feel like it's mental health that's affecting their physical stability. Also, they're not following their dreams, and that's kind of ironic because Pisces are very dreamy in
Right.
nature, so they could be blocked. Also, communication is blocked. They're not really communicating what it is that is on their mind. So maybe, they're indulging in too much,
Drink.
alcohol or,
Yeah.
food that
Chocolate.
isn't good for them. Yeah. And
It could also be disturbing dreams. You know, Pisces is the dream state. So in reverse, that could be disturbing dreams.
mhm.
I don't want to say nightmares.
Well, I had a
Uncomfortable
disturbing
dreams.
message. My brother is a Pisces. He actually messaged me today. He showed me a picture of his baby. So,
Oh,
yeah, but his health, he works in the health industry. He needs to really watch his health because he does work in the hospital. So that could be something, specific towards him. But yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
and on Neptune stationing direct this week, um, man, it's had a lot of mystery or fantasy coming out, or um, just mystery being
Mhm.
revealed. Um, Certainly, all the dissension within the institutions of hospitals, or, Pisces rules the 12th house, which is mental institutions
Hey,
as well.
that's my my brother is a mental health,
Oh,
um,
awesome. Okay.
person. Yeah, so whenever the crazies come into the hospital,
Yes.
he actually, consoles them, and he does the intake, for those people. He's a really good counselor, but my brother would say, he says, "We had firsthand experience from dealing with our mama."
You just made me think of that movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, yeah. What
Uh,
was her, Nurse Ratchet?
I don't know, I've never seen it.
That's an intense movie
Oh, is it?
about a mental institution. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
back.
I mean, like, he's so, like, high-spirited or, he doesn't take, things, too serious unless it's, like, a personal thing, like my
Right.
grandmother who passed away. Whenever, those days come around, then he gets super closed off and he doesn't wanna talk to anybody. But on the flip side, he's very open to help, raise people's vibrations. Like if they're in a
Mhm.
funk, he's like, "Well, what's wrong with you?" And then he'll say something to kind of lift people's spirits up or give them the old, pep talk and
Mm.
and help them to change their mindset if they've actually gone down the rabbit hole. So to
Wow.
speak. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess in a sense that me and my brother are kind of in the same industry.
Well, I tell you, this week, with it going direct, you would think it's a full moon, but it's a new moon, but it's had that effect of like just crazy people coming out of the woodwork.
hmm
Just,
it's a really funky energy for sure. I
mhm.
can't even explain what it is, but make
Yeah,
sure you take your salt baths, okay, lovelies.
yes. Burn your sage and get those beautiful feather wafers.
Yes, yes, I have it right here.
I meant to bring mine upstairs. I forgot.
It's
Oh, but I
okay.
did remember this.
Mhm.
It takes me a couple of tries to follow up with the things that I've talked about.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, yes, I
So
remember you talking about that one. Mhm.
I'm real serious, guys, when I say just as much as you can the next couple of weeks, get away from your computer, get away from the TV, get away from your smartphone, read, just be still. But to show you like how old, so this is before the internet.
Mhm.
Astrologers would write articles and send in charts. We
Mhm.
would read for our clients, and then we would share with the community what we were seeing in people's charts.
Mhm.
And how you would do it is here's some book reviews. Look how old the type is. It's like courier type.
Oh, no, that's
Um,
fine.
so people would um, this is Happy April Fool's Day. I just loved this because I don't know. There's something about paper and print in your hand.
I like books, like
You know,
physical books. I can't read a Kindle or, I can't read electronic stuff
and it,
all
it,
the
it
time.
connected people from all over the world. So here is an astrologer in Ireland writing
Mhm.
about dear colleagues, my co-researcher and I, and everything is notated by longitude and latitude and the placement on the earth. And they would do these research projects. This is Project Astrologers RPA. So, I mean, this was before we had the internet.
Mhm.
And I'm so glad I didn't hold on to all of them, but I just had mentioned the Mercury Hour. Edie Custer was a tiny little woman, about 4'8". We would
Mhm.
go to these astrology conferences held usually at some old Holiday Inn somewhere. And,
Mhm.
the thing that everybody always said about Edie, she would hold court. She liked to smoke and drink. Back in that day, you could smoke and drink like out in the lobby or in the lounge, right?
Mhm.
And she was just a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience with reading people's charts, and that's how astrologers learn, and that's how we share. Is our insights have a lot to do with charts we've seen before. I don't know if your people would ever be interested. I thought about it, but it gets way away from relationships. But there's mundane astrology is what it's called, and that's when you
Mhm.
take the astrology of a country and read what's going on with it. So, and the Mercury hour was a way to share birth data because there's like 2 or 3 different charts for the United States, and
Mhm.
there'd be debate. I mean, it is a language, and you have interpretation, and everybody's got a different opinion. And that's what I'm excited to see return in our society. Society's gotten way submissive and passive, and just sort of drone along with these scripts. And I think this eclipse is about triggering your creativity, and it being okay for you having a different opinion, and us getting back to discourse, where we can talk about our different ideas and different opinions without all the nastiness, or all the just nastiness. So
Well, one
I'm
suggestion I
excited.
could Yeah, one suggestion I can have for you is you can just use your blog and just put up, some articles up there and see if you
Yeah,
get some traction. And
yeah,
the way that you know is that it could be a search term on the internet, and that's how you know you're getting
I gotcha. Okay.
natural searches going to your
Well, we're
website.
certainly in interesting times for many different countries, so it is relevant to our present moment. And you had brought that up, and I think it's an important point to hammer down on what we're in, is to stay in the present, uh,
Mhm.
be open minded, be
Mhm.
flexible, be patient with yourself, be patient with other people, and be ready.
I got it. So are you guys ready?
Whatever that means to you.
I'm ready for the weekend so I can
Yeah.
relax and watch my dang dramas.
What do you watch? What is it when you mean that? What do you mean?
I watch Vicky. It's basically Korean dramas, K-drama, if you're
Okay.
into it. I love it so much. It makes me laugh. Yeah, there's just so many. And then once one like series ends, then I'll have to watch like another drama series. So yeah, that's what I do. I don't watch TV. I watch a little bit of YouTube, but really I just watch Vicky on my spare time.
Well,
So
being part Korean, and maybe we can circle back and see what you find out about this, but there is a region in North Korea where within the last couple of weeks, 335,000 people disappeared.
what? I didn't hear that.
And it happened back in 1955 in the same region, like 355,000 people disappeared. And the rumor mill is that some sort of crew is actually going through this area, cleaning up people's homes and food and houses. And this is connected to off planet species interfacing with us here. And I know that's going down a rabbit hole, but you
Which
might have some
which
connection
sci-fi
to,
is that one?
yeah, yeah. Well, hey, we like to entertain.
It is North Korea, and if you look at it from a global perspective, you'll see that it's a blackened, like there's no electricity. You'll see that it's pretty dark in comparison. If you fly over like South Korea or North Korea, you could see it's a big stark difference. That
Wow.
they don't have like internet technologies. It's forbidden in that country. I don't even know if they do have internet in that region, and if it is, they're probably you know um kind of like a sanitized version, right?
Right.
Yeah, so
Interesting. Well, maybe
mhm.
we can circle back on that next time.
Okay, I mean that's a off topic, but yeah, sure.
Well, we are talking about, social change, and um, getting down to what's really real.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm open for it. I'm pretty sure I can get my mama in on it too some way somehow. My mom's
Yeah.
all about
There's some
that.
history there, and I'll find out again what exactly the name of the region is, but it's happened twice, like 50 years apart,
Huh.
actually more than 50 years apart. So that's interesting that the same thing has happened. It's a cycle. I mean, that's kind of where I was going with it, was okay, some kind of,
Well, you said 55. My mom was born in 52. So this
Okay.
happened a few years after she was born.
And then it happened again like recently, like in the last couple 2 weeks or so.
Mm, maybe there's a portal there that we don't know about.
Maybe.
Like
We
I
love our
said.
mysteries, don't we?
Yeah. So, okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up this session. So, is there any other questions that people have, like in the chat or anything that you guys would like to contribute at this time? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
Yeah. Names are changed to protect the innocent.
Yeah. I would like to get some feedback here. Um, hmm. Let's see here. You think they have 3 websites and you need to be upper society to access it? What were you referring to, Shabaka? I guess I wasn't portals? 3 oh, okay. I guess we're not in that class. No access, access denied.
Might be a good thing. Might be portals we don't want anything to do with.
Oh, Shabaka says she would like to hear more about the portals.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I might be able to bring on some really sci-fi type people, and I have a few in mind. They do what you call hypnotherapy,
Mm,
and we go over stuff. It's called SRT. And so when we're going through this SRT experience or session, basically we're looking outside of ourselves if there's any kind of extraterrestrials or any kind of negative entities or aliens or ETs that is surrounding the etheric field that could be affecting us personally, because basically we're like a host, and they're like the whatever the attached the things that
that's
parasites,
so
right?
Uranian
Yeah.
for it to be going
So
there. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like sci-fi-ish,
It's
but it
doing
is.
the energy.
Oh,
Uranus
3
square
websites.
Saturn.
Oh, she says there's 3 websites in North Korea. Oh, okay, well, I didn't know that.
I'm going to find out the actual name of the area and I'll email it to you.
Okay, yeah. So, okay. Um, all right. So let's go ahead and wrap up this session. So, if you guys are interested in booking an astrology report or a reading with
Oh, thank
Sunny,
you.
yes, you can go ahead and visit her at lionmountainhealing.com and get your special report with her. And she'll give you like a handwritten report, and yeah, I've had several from her, and every time when she writes up a report, um, it really matches up with whatever I've been picking up.
For whatever
Through.
it's worth, I really don't know what I'm saying.
No, no, it does match up to what I'm feeling. So,
Yeah.
I think that it's a really good. How do I say this? Like another aspect.
Language.
Yeah,
Yes.
another language to kinda look at other than having a personal, tarot reading, that I would personally give towards you guys, and I would kinda match up, like, what she says, what I say, and it kind of, like, is kinda cohesive.
Confirmation. It
Yeah, it
usually
kinda confirms.
confirms something that's already in your mind.
Right, so instead of, like, getting, like, a psychic reading, you can get an astro report and see, like, how it kinda matches up with, the whole aspect of a tarot reading, so.
It's a lot of fun. It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
elixir to mankind, according to Albert Einstein.
Well, I sincerely, enjoy, those reports that you send
Great.
to me,
I'm
and,
grateful for it and to do it and help anyone I can with some insight.
definitely. And guys, okay, if you book a reading with her, make sure you have your birth time. Okay. And if you have a person that you're inquiring about, make sure you have their birth time too. If you have that much. But if not, she would need the birth location And what else?
Day, month, and year of birth.
Okay, the
Birthday,
birthday
city and
and
state, and
city,
as close
state.
to the time of day as possible.
Okay, and if you don't know the time, then it's gonna be okay.
And
It's gonna be
also,
generalized.
if they live somewhere other than where they were born, their current day, city, and state, because we progress the chart from the time of birth to where they are on the planet, longitude and latitude at the time of the reading.
Okay, got it. So you guys heard that, right?
You
Just in
can
case,
always email
someone does.
me and ask.
All right, I'm just prepping you guys, and maybe I should help add that tidbit onto your website. Like when you book a reading, this is what what I need. I don't know if I put that on there. I
So
can't
yeah,
remember.
when I do get an order, I respond with that. But I was wondering
Okay,
about that, if I could put it as an instruction in there.
yeah, just to kind of like speed up the process.
I'm technologically challenged, remember?
That's okay. That's why I'm here to help out.
Yeah.
So, thank you all for watching. Thank you all. And make sure that you take your salt baths, okay, for tonight. Sage, cleanse your space, set your
Yes.
intentions, and really
Write
get
your
out there.
outline for your humanitarian mission.
Right. What is it that you want to do? If money was no object, what is the thing that you would like to do?
What gives your
And
soul fire?
yeah, and manifest it and know that that is a part of what you're supposed to bring to planet Earth. And I think that's going to be healthy.
Yes. Very, very exciting times. And
Mhm.
just follow your first voice. And thank you, Scorpio Moon. I enjoy coming on, and hopefully I offer some good information. I
Well, it's
really
always
appreciate
very unique intel.
it. Yes.
Sometimes we go off the beaten path, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's what, we're open towards,
It's all
you know.
weirdly connected somehow, right?
Yeah, it all makes sense somehow.
Yes.
So, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next live. All right,
Yeah.
bye-bye.
Bye.